What is going on, Crisis Actors? This is episode 1116 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day today. I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I'm going to try my best today to repress any disturbing noises that I feel like expressing because
she did
Brett
this
apparently
rhino
can't tolerate
sound.
that.
She did this weird rhino sound where she basically like lunged at the camera and made this undefinable guttural sound that, you know, if I had been smart, I would have recorded.
Express yourself that freely.
Yeah, I couldn't.
To be honest.
I mean, I have not seen expression that free outside of slam poetry, but...
Okay, I have an idea since we are going to be discussing Pirates of the Caribbean today. I want to know if Jack Sparrow is gay in modern context or ever. It was or is he gay? I think that Jack Sparrow can't get away with being flamboyant in current year without people saying that he's gay.
No, he is grandfathered in.
As a straight flamboyant man?
Yes, you're grandfathered in. You like if you make him now, it's a little bit different, but he kind of calls back. It's like
they don't know how to write that anymore.
Be like if they brought back Jim Carrey as the Riddler with his flamboyant movements.
Well, it's like they don't know how to write flamboyant straight men anymore.
That's
true. Like a lost art because we don't see that in the wild these days.
We have a 20 here from Shane H. Wilder. Do you got that one there?
Yes. Happy Wednesday, Brett and Mary. I just learned Columbia House is shutting down September 15th after 71 years. I didn't know they still existed. My parents tried them for a couple of years in the mid-2000s when they had 99-cent CDs.
Yeah, you very likely...
What is this?
Columbia House was like this infomercial that would come up, and you could get CDs for like nothing. I was too young to ever do it to order them myself, but I still see memes from time to time that say like, I still owe Columbia House like a ton of money or something like that. Maybe somebody who was like a little bit older than me when Columbia House was really like hitting its stride could like better explain in the chat how it worked. It was like a huge scam. Like I guarantee you there's whole YouTube videos about it right now if we went and looked it up.
I've never heard of it before until today, and it apparently doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Definitively before my time, but I do remember like
it happened.
As a young kid, we used CDs primarily.
Who is getting like? What is going on over there? Can you guys hear that? I can hear that.
It's always something, man.
It's always something. Like it's never happening over here where I'm. Though if we were to like, it was crazy. I was like, because I recorded a video last night with Siaka, and you can hear the bugs outside here like at night.
Really? They're that loud?
I don't know if it shows up in the studio, but like if I'm outside of this room here, I can absolutely hear them outside. They're very loud.
Yeah, you have to pick your heart.
Yes.
Depending on where you live.
We have another 20 from Pop Culture Junkie who says, word is bridges will be burned when ex-Disney CEO Bob Chapek tell-all book drops on September 29th. A tidbit, just as Chapek was getting traction with stockholders, Iger threw him under the bus during the ScarJo lawsuit kerfuffle. Yeah, the ScarJo lawsuit stuff, if I remember correctly, was tied to like the money she was making for Black Widow because she had a deal for a percentage on the back end of the box office, but because they released it in theaters and on Disney Plus at the same time, she felt I think they were screwing her over. And if I remember correctly, they settled and she got a chunk of money out of that.
Good for her. I can't wait to find out what all the tea that Bob Chapek is about to spill. On the company, if any. Probably not that interesting though, based on whatever he's legally allowed to say. You know, can't be that interesting.
It's probably not that interesting.
He's probably not legally allowed to tell us anything that we would actually be interested to know.
Guys, as always, hit the like button on this episode. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you've not subscribed yet already. Please and thank you. Share the episode out with your friends, your family, your loved ones, people in your life that you like, the people in your life that you don't like. The more people that you share our show with, the faster we can grow. So thank you guys so much for that. What are we getting into today? Well, It's been the story of the week with everything to do with Hayden Panettiere, so we are going to get back into that today because after her passing, it does seem like people are out here looking for somebody to blame, somebody to hold accountable. That's the way the internet is. Some people have shifted their attention to her boyfriend, her on-again, off-again boyfriend, who, for all intents and purposes, looked like a huge piece of shit. And people are putting the blame on him. There are even conspiracies that are saying that he could be responsible for what happened. I think that that's a tragic, depressing thing to talk about and a bit of a psychosis. But another place that this is happening is with Neutrogena, which was a brand that she worked with back in 2015 and earlier. And they let her go after a particular appearance in discussing things like postpartum depression. And so it's raised a lot of ire, and their stock price is actually taking a hit. So we're going to get into all of that. It's an interesting discussion. We're also going to talk about Pirates of the Caribbean 6. Or is it 6? Which Pirates?
Yeah, that
would
would be 6 if it ever does actually come to pass.
So at D23, Jerry Bruckheimer said that they are once again in talks with Johnny Depp to reprise his role as Jack Sparrow in the franchise, but also that Margot Robbie will be involved in the project, and who knows if such a thing will end up coming to pass. It's an interesting thing to think about, given that Johnny Depp is working his way back into the mainstream spotlight this year with Ebenezer coming out around the holiday season. We'll talk about it.
It was bound to happen eventually.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Also, Phoebe Gate.
Not Phoebe Cates and not
Phoebe
Watergate,
Cates.
Something in between.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about
not Phoebe
Bill
Waller-Bridge
Gates'
either.
daughter. Yeah. Bill Gates has a daughter who is in a lot of trouble right now, and it's because she was scamming all of her investors and clients in a tech startup called FIA. So we're going to get into the dirty details and the Slack messages that have been exposed.
Also, guys, there is a new singer that has exploded onto the scene, and her name is Audrey Hobart. She is the daughter of a writer for The Middle, and he was a writer for Scrubs. So she's carrying the Nepo baby label right now, and there is a very, very mean-spirited discussion going on X right now about
that we would have nothing to do with, by the way.
Look, I'm as far as I'm concerned, I can make my cracks, but glass houses and all of that, when you got a face for radio, she is being called by people on the internet too ugly to be a pop star. And unfortunately, it's kind of being dragged back into discussions about trans in Hollywood because they feel like she's carrying this label. They're what they're doing, what they call transvestigating her. And it's a bit mean-spirited and rude, but I think it's the fact that she comes from famous parents, famous lineage, has kind of burned off a lot of the public's goodwill to kind of take it more fairly. We'll get into it. It's an interesting discussion, so we'll talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff. There was one more 20. Did you see that one there from Shani Twyler?
Let me pull that up. I was a kid, so my parents handled it. 10 CDs for $10, then had to buy a CD a month at regular price for a year. If you didn't pick one, they would send something random. There are stories of old people getting sent gangsta rap.
I can imagine Coolio got sent to a lot of houses.
This sounds like a formative trauma for people.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely a scam.
So we've got that. We've got some other stuff. Before we get into it, though, I do want to remind you guys, this Saturday at 7 p.m., I do have another full episode of PCC. It's not the 2 hours, but we go well over an hour. I was talking with Siaka from over at the Daily Wire about Run, Hide, Fight Infidels. Crazy stories about what it meant to be a producer on that film. And let me tell you, it does not sound like a job I would want or be any good at. It was very, very interesting to talk to him about that. I kind of pushed back a little bit on what I felt was the marketability of the movie. He answered all my questions. It was a lot of fun. We also got into other things, the conservative relationship with the arts and kind of the faceless evil that is Hollywood, because it kind of ties into Hayden Panettiere as well. So I would hope that you guys, if you're free on Saturday night at 7 p.m., I'm going to be premiering that. You guys have quite a few of you have showed up to the last few that I've premiered. So if you would check that out on Saturday at 7 p.m., I would be very appreciative. So thank you guys so much for that. Mary, are you ready to go?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go for it then.
People are freaking out about an interview with Jerry Bruckheimer at D23 because he dropped a hint about the upcoming next installment of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise that, according to him, does in fact involve talks with Johnny Depp and Margot Robbie. They say in Deadline, we caught up with Jerry Bruckheimer, who tells that when it comes to Pirates 6, we're talking with Johnny Depp. We're working on a screenplay, and hopefully we can get this done. Separate from Bruckheimer, some solid sources tell us the continuation won't feel just like the nth tale of Captain Jack Sparrow. Rather, the next chapter will focus on Margot Robbie's protagonist with Sparrow as a side character, essentially an evolution of the franchise. So this is being met with very mixed reactions. Some people are pissed, saying it's fake news. Margot Robbie would never. They need to stop dragging her name into this when she is not involved. The rumors have circulated countless times over the years, and now he is just dredging it up again. Other people are saying there's no chance I will ever watch this franchise again, or I will boycott it because Johnny Depp is involved, and you're never going to change their minds.
No.
Other people are unhappy about the idea of Johnny Depp's character getting sidelined by a female lead, but other people are saying this is perfectly in line with the tradition of the franchise where Jack Sparrow has always been a side character. And then other people are like, no, he's not a side character. He's the main character.
It does
and
feel
I've
like,
never watched the movie, so I don't even know what the truth is.
it does feel like it doesn't matter as an evolution. Him being tied to it, he has to be the main character of whatever he's in now because he's such a, as an actor.
He's a show stealer.
It's all about his return to Hollywood.
Right.
And it'll be a good barometer for what his success will look like. I don't think Ebenezer, actually, you know what? I'm gonna refrain from that. I actually do think Ebenezer is is perhaps a better gauge of what his marketability is for the industry still. Like, you might be able to pull people back for Pirates because of the franchise name, but can you pull, granted, I guess Ebenezer isn't exactly new IP, but it's less used IP perhaps, or seasonal IP.
Ebenezer makes more sense because bringing Johnny Depp back as Jack Sparrow at his current age, what is he? He's nearing 60. It's like bringing back Harrison Ford in the Dial of Destiny movie. Like, that felt like old and tired and slow and boring. It's not the right timing. So anyway, the Margot Robbie stuff is not fake news. This was confirmed back in September last year by Jerry Bruckheimer. He did say, we're working on a script for the next 6th installment of Pirates. And he did confirm that Margot Robbie is involved. He didn't say in what capacity or what script they ended up using, because back in 2022, it seemed like it was dead in the water. Margot Robbie at the time told Vanity Fair that it was totally abandoned, and her favorite idea for the script was not something Disney was interested in. She said, we had an idea and we were developing it for a while, ages ago, to have more of a female-led, she interrupted herself then, not totally female-led, but just a different kind of story, which we thought would have been really cool.
She knew
but
that word
I guess they don't want to do it.
She knew that word was not a good one to have circulating.
In 2022? No. So that was met with a lot of criticism, but at the time, people believed it was dead in the water, and apparently not. Now, as I said about the age difference and just the fact that so much time has passed, I do agree with this take. Someone said, Margot is 36 and Depp is 63. Keira Knightley was 17 when they filmed the original. Orlando Bloom was 25. Geriatric culture is stuck culture.
Do you agree with that?
I mean, Johnny Depp only has such an open door to come back to Hollywood because there are no new stars that have come up in the meantime since his cancellation. Like, that is really a blessing in disguise.
I don't even know if that's necessarily true. I do believe that they have what they consider to be their modern stars. But the difference is the modern stars of today are still the products of algorithmically controlled entertainment, whereas the stars of Johnny Depp's time period were a product of monoculture. Monoculture reached way more people and allowed them even more fame, perhaps, than the stars of today have, even with the reach that they have on social media.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the new vanguard of stars, there were other rumors circulating about the female lead for the next Pirates movie, including Jenna Ortega at one point, and even Io Edebiri at another point. I remember us covering that one too.
What is this? I mean, what is this supposed to be? Is it supposed to be Sydney Sweeney and
Sydney Sweeney too?
And Callum Turner? Is that what I have to watch? Because I'm not watching that.
I'm pretty sure Sydney Sweeney actually came out and said that it wasn't true, and that not that she disavowed it, although people did frame it that way, but she had to come out and say it wasn't true. And people are also pointing out that years ago, in ancient internet history at this point, during the ongoing defamation trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, he declared on the stand that he was never going to work with Disney ever again in the future. And he said nothing on earth, not even $300 million and a million alpacas,
I remember that,
would convince him to return to the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. But it appears he's changed his mind, or they have actually offered him $300 million and a million alpacas, and then an extra alpaca on top of that.
The thing is, though, is he loved to go to the children's hospitals dressed up as Johnny Depp, from what I dressed up as Johnny Depp, dressed up as Jack Sparrow, from what I understand. Like, he had a real kinship with the character. So, maybe in the moment,
because it doesn't make money for Disney.
Yeah. I understand, but I guess, cooler heads prevail as time goes on. It's possible that he's looking for a way back in to the industry because he wants to keep working. He's like, you know what? I can't be a mediocre singer forever. I have no idea. I have no idea if he's a mediocre singer. I have no idea if he even sings. I know he's in a band. He's like, I don't want to do music forever. I want to be able to act too. And this Jean Dubarry stuff just isn't cutting it. So
the indie stuff just doesn't hit the same in the bank account.
Yeah.
Right?
Not even just the bank account, but he wants to be back in the public eye. So, he needs Disney for that, unfortunately. And maybe he's willing to, or maybe it's just like, when was the trial? It was in 2022. So was that Chapek's mediocre run as Disney CEO?
So.
Maybe the issue is he's like, well, it's neither Chapek nor Iger. Maybe I'll come back to work with them because neither of those skis balls are working there currently. I mean, they're still advisors. It'd be a total cope of an answer. It's not like they don't have access to what's going on at Disney. Sure. But maybe that's how he rationalizes it to himself.
It's interesting watching Depp supporters respond to this information, because at once they're feeling like, oh, this is great. He's finally getting welcomed back into the industry after being canceled in a way that during peak woke felt so permanent. But then at the same time, they're like, well, why are you bending the knee and then offering to make money for these people who not betrayed you? It's not like a personal relationship. It is business. But they threw him under the bus.
And I think that Johnny Depp is a unique talent in the industry. He has a unique amount of visibility and screen presence, as we saw when he did that kind of first outing as Ebenezer. Those type of talents are rare, and they're in short supply in Hollywood right now. People with what the kids would call aura are in short supply in Hollywood. And if Brad Pitt can have his comeback with F1 and whatever else he's doing now, aren't they making a Cliff Booth movie over on Netflix? Then Johnny Depp is due for his comeback as well, and I don't think that that's a bad thing for it, especially monetarily speaking. It's not a bad move for all parties involved.
Is he going to get his Dior deal back?
He already has that back.
They brought him back on as an ambassador? Oh, wow. Okay.
Pretty quick after. And somebody can fact check me.
It might have been the first thing to do an Uno reverse for him.
Yeah, somebody can fact check me, but I believe that they brought him back pretty quick.
But that aura loss that you're mentioning, it's true across the board. They probably couldn't find someone like Margot Robbie amongst Gen Z actresses either.
Yes, it says he still is working with them. They stood by Depp through his legal battles and later signed him.
They never dropped him?
To a lucrative multi-year deal reported to be worth over $20 million.
I'm surprised. I thought I remembered them dropping him at one point.
I mean, this is the AI overview, so take it with a grain of salt, but that's what they're saying.
Interesting.
There's like, it says Johnny Depp's new Dior campaign. This is a video from like a week ago, so it looks like it's happening.
Interesting. All right.
All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into. The Peter Pan story is it's unfolding as we speak.
Yes, we have an interesting update in the Peter Pan actor stalker saga that is unfolding mostly on TikTok. An actor who has performed as Peter Pan in one of the parks has come out and made a statement. I would say it's misleading because this is not the Peter Pan actor that our TikTok stalker, Tony, was interacting with in the viral video that we showed.
Are you sure about
that? This is a different guy. Yes.
Okay.
This is a different Peter Pan actor, but he has made a statement telling people to stop cyberbullying Tony, and he doesn't think that she did anything wrong. Mm-hmm. So let's play his TikTok if you have that.
I do. Okay.
It's he does the thing where he walks up to the camera at the beginning, so immediately I was like, okay.
That's the worst Instagram trend in the last 5 years is the sitting down for my Netflix documentary.
Actually, before we start watching this, I just want to provide the context in case you missed it last week. We discussed that this TikToker named Tony has been visiting Disneyland on a weekly basis since 2015 and has a particular affinity for the performers that play Peter Pan in the parks. And she has shown herself following around the actor as he roams around the park, giving him gifts. People particularly took interest in one video where she gives him a handmade crochet keychain and proceeds to follow behind him as he's walking away from her. The body language in the video was kind of weird. He was backed up against a wall. He seemed uncomfortable, but we still don't have any word from that particular actor. This is a different one. So here's his 2 cents.
Here we go.
All right. Hi, everyone. It's me from the many videos that have been going around on TikTok. I flew with Peter in Disneyland from 2014 to 2021.
He did the thing where he says he flew with Peter.
Yeah,
he does not acknowledge that he was
abiding by approved Disney terminology.
They must be like ridiculously litigious if even after they leave employ at Disney, that they still do that. That is crazy.
And yes, I had many interactions with Tony. So as you can see in the video, Tony's behavior did make me feel a little awkward. And
I mean, he's saying it like it's him.
I know he's saying it that way. I think he was one of the former Peter Pan actors who did interact with her years ago, but not the one in the video people are talking about.
All right, here we go.
But at no point did it cross any boundaries of what a character interaction should look like at Disneyland. She was very enthusiastic about meeting the character, maybe a little more so than most, but it never crossed the boundary of trying to get to know the performer. And so we need to end the discourse and the harassment and the online toxicity that is being aimed at her. She's doing nothing wrong. She's acting within all the guidelines of what a guest should do at Disneyland. It's a little extra and a little more than most, but she's within her right to do so. And the best thing that you can do with personalities that are a little extra is cut off their supply to attention. So stop the likes, stop the comments, and stop the sharing or the reposts. And so I know you're here looking for tea, and so I do have a story about another stalker that is not Tony that did cross the boundary. So one day while I was performing in Disneyland, I had a guest that had come up to me many times a day, came up to me and she described my dog to me in very specific detail. And I was completely private on all of my social media accounts, so I am quite unsure as to where she got these details.
Where did she get those details? My God.
It's terrifying.
Very shortly after, I found her waiting at the cast member parking lot for me. For about a month, she was there every shift, waiting. And she never spoke to me. She kind of just watched and stared, which definitely did not make me feel safe. And then the straw that really broke the camel's back for me was my family came to visit me, which is always really endearing. And she somehow figured out who my family was and decided to follow them around in the park for a day. Now that is an example of harassment, because that guest was trying to get to know the performer and not the character. And so as a result of all of these somewhat negative interactions, I started to play games with kids instead of doing the traditional meet and greet format. And so I got to make amazing memories playing hide and seek and duck duck goose with kids. And so again, what I say to you all, TikTok, is we need to end the negative discourse and cut off the supply to attention. This conversation of what is harassment between a character and a guest is not between any of us. It's between the performer, the company, and the guest. And to Tony, they're men in tights.
Okay. Well, he's wrong about at the end. It's not between those people. It's between whoever the hell wants to have a discussion about it on the internet. But
yeah, and she's also putting these videos out there for public attention, so I don't know why it would be so wrong to comment on it. And people are mad at this actor for defending Tony. To be clear, of course, the stalker he was talking about was a totally different person.
Yes.
But it only further proves this is a long-running phenomenon of adult women obsessing over the actors that play Peter Pan in the parks. Not just this particular one or this particular TikToker. This has been going on for well over a decade at this point. One of the particular actors that became a point of fascination was nicknamed, I think, Spieling Peter. And it was because he became known for having really fun, improvised conversations with fans at the parks, mainly women who would approach him with a camera during the 2010s. And he was circulated on Tumblr, and the fandom was obsessed with him, making fan edits. And they were, I would say, they were in like an idol relationship with this particular actor. And I don't know if his identity was ever uncovered, but I'm sure he had some weird interactions too. And people are commenting on this video saying, like, no, stop. We want the story from the actor who's playing Peter Pan now, who Tony is interacting with now. And she actually, since all of this is blown up, has done a couple of interviews defending her own actions, saying that she hasn't done anything wrong. And she has even visited Disney again since this video blew up. She, during an interview with USA Today, said people take something really small and turn it into something big without even knowing what it's truly about. And she went on to say, it's been a little rough with the internet making memes of her. I never expected to blow up this much, like the entire internet to know I exist. I think being a Disney adult means letting out your inner child. She says that her love of the Peter Pan character started because of her relationship with the actors. A Peter Pan that she met in 2015 had a positive impact on her. He just made a really magical experience for me the first time. It does sound like her being alpha widowed in a certain sense, but to be clear, she is married and her husband was asked for comment. He said, you know, he just likes Lightning McQueen. He doesn't really get her dedication to Disney.
Wait, so he's got a legit, he's got like a legit hear me out?
Yeah, I guess Lightning McQueen is his hear me out. But she said her favorite thing to do at the park is not meeting Peter Pan. I find that hard to believe. She likes to play Astro Blasters. And she says, since these online rumors started circulating, she has not, in fact, been banned from the park as some people claimed. She said she was actually there the day before her interview. She said, I don't even always meet them. I held that crochet dinosaur for 9 weeks because we didn't see each other. I wouldn't have had it for 9 weeks if I was that crazy trying to find him. And this is something that other actors have experienced with full-blown stalkers. I think people probably did blow it out of proportion in relation to this TikToker. One named Andrei, an actor who played Peter Pan, starting in Florida in 2015, said during training, Disney instructors warned him about adult patrons. who might figure out his real name, home address, and social media. I had people that learned my schedule. They would show up and be the first in line for every single one of my sets. But after a while, you learn how to deal with them. And it's a really grueling schedule that they have to do. It's 45-minute sets 5 times a day, which must be emotionally draining as it is without people being inappropriate, touching you without consent, asking vulgar questions, trying to provoke you to break character. But this routinely happens. And of course, Disney is not going to penalize them for this behavior because they're the big spenders. The repeat offenders are the most loyal customers they have. But this interview goes on and she says she's only seen him 7 times in her past 30 visits. That's according to her. And she even said at her latest visit, she saw this actor again, and he probably had seen the TikToks and all of the memes and the rumors. And he actually said that he wants her to never stop visiting Neverland. So maybe he doesn't feel uncomfortable. Maybe everyone was, taking this and running with it, blowing it out of proportion, perhaps. But I'm not willing to believe her side of the story either. And people are really defending her. One tweet said, the whole witch hunt against this girl and so many lies made up about her that she was banned from the park or put an air tag in something that she gave him. It's a misogynistic smear campaign. Now, we said it was alleged that she snuck an air tag into the gift.
Yeah.
That was never confirmed. She never admitted to that, and no one ever saw evidence of that.
Yeah.
It was just claimed in some of these TikToks. And I don't think it's misogynistic. It just happens to be that the craziest Disney adults happen to be adult women. Like, that is just the pattern of behavior that we are objectively observing here.
I would be willing to bet that the internet blew this out of proportion.
Sure.
Especially relative to how
fine.
often she goes.
Fine.
You could have a whole nother discussion about whether it's crazy pants if you're a crazy pants person for going to Disney 30 times at all, let alone the last 30 times. That's I think a perfectly reasonable discussion to have. But for the rest of it, the actor not having a problem with it and everything going on, I would be willing to bet that that's a fair assumption. But I still think going so many times that you say the last 30 times is crazy pants behavior. But that's just my own personal barometer for crazy.
Well, she said this is the real explanation for why she gravitates toward this character. I've been asking myself, why do I go meet him? Why do I go out of my way to find him? Why do I want to go and meet Disney characters and have these interactions with them? Here's the simple answer. Seeing him makes me happy. Dressing up makes me happy. Going to Disneyland once a week makes me happy. If people are going to hate on me, I'm not going to let it stop me because I know I'm not doing anything wrong.
Okay.
So she's decidedly not going to change her ways, and the hate campaign has not convinced her to reconsider.
All right, let's move on. Inde Navarrette is back in the news. She is so popular now, guys, that she's just turning down big roles.
Yeah, major Hollywood studios are breaking down Inde Navarrette's door with constant offers for major movie roles, and it's gotten to the point where she has had to turn down some of them. Now, when we found out that she accepted the offer to play Rogue in the upcoming X-Men movie that will come out in 2028, it seemed understandable based on the financial gain that she had from that role. I'm sure the upfront salary for Obsession pales in comparison to what she has been offered to play Rogue. Mm-hmm. But now that we know what she had to turn down for the role, it doesn't make as much sense. So this piece in Page 6 Hollywood explains which projects she was rumored to have rejected in favor of joining the MCU. Mm-hmm. They say Before Obsession was released on May 15th, Navarrette was known primarily to fans from Superman and Lois, and perhaps 13 Reasons Why as a regular on both shows. Cut to today, she's on everyone's shortlist right now, according to a prominent producer, noting that she's regularly turning down mid-7-figure offers. We've learned that before Navarrette was revealed last week as a star on the next X-Men movie for Marvel alongside Adam Driver and Sadie Sink, she was on the short list of actresses being wooed to star in Heat 2, the upcoming sequel to Michael Mann's epic crime drama scheduled to start shooting this fall.
At first, I took offense to this, but then I thought about it more, and I don't want Heat 2 to happen anyways. It's like a prequel. Heat is, as people know, my favorite movie of all time, and I don't want the movie to be made.
Well,
So,
it's going to get made, whether you like it or not. It's just
Yeah.
not going to have Inde Navarrette on the cast, is the thing.
So I'm on board with her. Good to skip it over.
A knowledgeable source confirmed that due to her commitment to the upcoming X-Men, the breakout star is no longer in contention to join Christian Bale and Leonardo DiCaprio to play the role of Charlene, a character originated by Ashley Judd.
Yep.
Page Six has also learned that Navarrette passed on a role that would have paid her $2.5 million for a horror project directed by Matthias Hone. I don't know if I said that correctly. She was already set to star in another horror project by Hone that is called In Vertigo, which centers on teens who get stuck on a roller coaster after a system failure. That film currently has no release date. Navarrette's remarkable ascent has quickly made her Hollywood's newest it girl. Yesterday, People ran a headline: Inde Navarrette holds hands with musician Nick Ilo outside Chateau Marmont 2 days after joining the X-Men cast, in which she was spotted outside the famed hotel. And that is true. It appears she has a new honey.
He's very
I don't
tall.
know who this guy is. He's some indie rock musician.
He's very tall, which brought about height discourse that I saw that made me want to jump out a window.
So all of those, I mean, she's very short, mainly.
Yes.
Like,
Well, that
it's
was
not
the
necessarily
point. They were saying the relationship was problematic because he was very tall and she was very short.
typical discourse,
Yes.
as we've seen before. But yeah, those rumors about her having a secret tryst with Johnny Depp have now been put to rest.
No!
But I just checked this guy's Instagram comments, and it's filled with pressed dudes hating on him.
Wait.
One of them said that it's just your turn.
Wait, so I'm confused. Why couldn't they get her for Pirate 6 then? Yeah, and then like
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah,
put them
I bet that
together
would
right
be,
side by side.
he would probably jump at the opportunity.
Maybe
yeah.
Margot Robbie can just produce the movie and Inde Navarrette can play her character.
One of the responses here said, turning down 2 amazing opportunities with S-tier celebrities and actors just to star next to Sadie Sink is literally the craziest thing ever. Is it that crazy, though? I mean...
Look, you can say what you want, but I don't know what the pay was like or if Mahershala Ali's ever saw a dime from Marvel for basically monopolizing him for a long time, where they said they were going to make the Blade movie and that they never did. But it is true that seemingly lots of actors at Marvel work on other stuff beyond just their Marvel roles. Like Sebastian Stan signed on, like they basically signed his contract in blood, if I remember correctly. Like he was signed on for a crap ton of movies and he still had time to play Donald Trump. He's going to be in DC now. Like there's not even an exclusivity contract there. That's one of the reasons I'm starting to wonder if like what's going to happen with him going forward, because you know, he's going over to DC, but he's doing movies all the time.
Well, I thought he walked that back and said that he's not going to play Harvey Dent.
Oh, yes. He's playing a character.
Okay.
They said that he was misquoted in his interview.
Got it.
I don't know which character he's playing. But the point is, he's always working. There's always new Sebastian Stan movies come out. So, I mean, maybe the idea was just that X-Men was going to be shooting at exactly the same time as Heat 2. Honestly, that does, as much as I don't want Heat 2 to be made, it's a very high-profile cast of people to be involved with. in that movie.
For sure.
Like imagine beyond just Michael Mann, but imagine like the ability to work with Leonardo DiCaprio and Christian Bale. Those are like, you want those names in your Rolodex of people you can go like, okay, it's 5 years from now and you're looking at your phone for the actors that you've worked with in the past to see who you can call about roles. Who do you want to call? Sadie Sink and what's her name? Maya. I don't remember. I guess that's the point.
Maya Hawke?
No, the girl who's playing Storm.
Oh, Boyd?
Do you want to call Maya Boyd? Do you want to call Kit Connors? Like, who do you want to call? You want to call Christian Bale and you want to call Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, maybe not Leonardo DiCaprio until you're over a certain age, but
unless she's just actually such a big fan of the comics, which she made a convincing case for that. It doesn't quite make sense to me, but
I love the photo that they always post whenever these celebrities get hired to play comic book characters where they pretend to read a comic book. They posted the one of Samara Weaving like in a bikini reading a comic book, and everyone's like, I don't believe she's reading it. I don't care.
Well, she earned a mere $20,000 for her starring role in Obsession, and people really, for lack of a better word, fetishize the scrappy nature of being involved in an indie project like that. But this goes for Curry Barker as well as the director, another breakout star in his own right. You get tired of that very quickly. And I'm sure the salary that was offered to her for X-Men was what convinced her to say yes to that instead of the Heat sequel.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, a Michael, like
she doesn't want to go back to being a dog walker or
I'm just trying to wonder
for money.
I'm wondering what she was offered. So Charlene is a pretty, like, she's not a main character in Heat. She has a pivotal role because she's heavily involved in Chris Hurless's story, and there's a very pivotal part in the end of the second act going into the third act that kind of rests on Ashley Judd's shoulders in that movie. But her payday was likely going to be more for Marvel.
Yeah. One of the responses said she most likely signed a multiple movie deal like most Marvel actors sign, so she'll be fine.
Yep. Yeah.
And you're right that it's a lot of it about networking and not just what you're getting paid. It's about like the social capital that you gain from a certain project. And we'll just have to see how that pans out for her. But
I'm not
people
gonna
are
lie.
seriously seething over everything that comes out about this girl. Like, I don't understand how people switched up so quickly.
I watched Heat recently, and looking at that cinematography, I am just terrified of what a modern prequel is going to look like.
Is it just going to be like fluorescent lit?
No, it's
grim.
I mean,
dreary.
that's a point right there. Like, they had the incandescent lights back then, the yellow street lights, and it was beautifully shot. There's a famous scene where Macaulay gets back to his condo or whatever it is, and he's looking out over the water, and it's bathed in blue. And it's literally kind of like what Hollywood does now, where it's monochromatic to one color. But it was beautifully shot and beautifully done, and it's evocative of the time that the shot's supposed to be taking place. So it served a purpose. Now they just be doing it because the ocean he'd be looking at will be fucking CGI, and they'll bathe it in blue and wash it out and darken it because they don't want to. They want to hide the stupid light board they're using to create a fake ocean. Don't make it. Cancel it now. There's no reason to make it.
Do not start a change.org petition to cancel the movie.
I am like every day I get more bullish on just no sequel, no reboots, no bringing it back. No, actually, let me rephrase. Better a reboot than a continuation, and a prequel is worse somehow. Like, just no, don't do it. Just leave it alone.
Well, why would it be called Heat 2 if it's a prequel?
That's a good question. I mean, it's just
another weird choice.
Thank you, Ethan Miller. Streetlights aren't incandescent. They are sodium lamps. So the point is, the lights used to be yellow. They are now an ugly. The funny thing is, there was a time period skating wise where we loved the switch over on lamps because filming outside at night became really easy because the lights
didn't know what you had lost.
The lights were brighter, and the color balance on your camera caught those lights way better. And then now you look back and you're like, man, stuff had so much more aura.
You didn't know what you had when you had it.
So just don't do these continuations, and this prequel is an even worse idea. At least they're using actors I know and care about. At least Christian Bale and Leonardo DiCaprio are actors that you can trust to bring home a good performance.
That's that aura that you were talking about.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on. Cringe or cute?
Let's see the cringe first. Okay. We have a cringe musical performance, which I know is your favorite.
It's the worst. Here we go. This is from Kermit Lover. Where do you find this shit?
This is my For You page. I don't know what to say.
Here we go. It says, I need a recording from the audience POV. Oh, I saw. I hate you sometimes.
Hand over the heart.
Okay, I'm tapping out. I can't finish it. I'm sorry.
I see these people in the video and I'm like, how are they not cracking up right now? I would not be able to handle myself.
I was like, I can't believe we let it go that far.
But nothing will ever top the Fergie performance.
Yes, yes.
When was that now? It's probably been a
mid-2000s?
Yeah. I thought that was from more recently than that. But yeah. People really be doing the most with our anthem.
Like, if they want to do that at a Savannah Bananas game, fine, but Savannah Bananas would have better production value. All right, cute of the day. Thank you, Luke. He submitted this one. Says, when we picked up our dog, Raven.
Oh, she's tiny.
She's a small little girl.
Very cute.
Very cute. Okay. All right, let's move on. We got to get into Hayden Panettiere. There's more to discuss.
Yes. So 2 things that are trending right now for all of the wrong reasons. Hayden Panettiere and postpartum depression. And strangely enough, there is an intersection between these 2 subjects. Following the news of her untimely, tragic death, fans of Hayden Panettiere are naturally looking for someone or something to blame for all of this. They're looking for an enemy, and they have found it in a former partner of Hayden Panettiere, that is a cosmetics brand, Neutrogena, who dropped her unceremoniously as an ambassador in 2015 following an interview in which she shared about her experience of postpartum depression just a mere 6 months after giving birth to her daughter, Kaya, who is now 11. They say, hell hath no fury, like a fan base scorned. Just ask those rallying around the late actress Hayden Panettiere. Less than an hour after the actress died on Sunday, fans of the actress took to social media to demand a national boycott of Neutrogena, the skincare company that worked with Hayden Panettiere from 2005 until 2015. That's when Panettiere first spoke out against the face wash giant for severing her contract, claiming she was released from her contract after speaking up about postpartum depression. So this was on an appearance that she did in the spring on Jay Shetty's podcast. We should probably just show that clip before getting further into it.
Here we go, guys.
They have morals clauses, which was had a huge impact in my life because I was a teenager and I had all the paparazzi around me catching all of these gory moments, like every moment, every cigarette that I smoked, or bad outfit, or oh, she's looking chunky in a bathing suit, oh, she has a fat vagina. They caught absolutely everything. And of all the things that they would fire me over, this was the last thing that I thought they would ever fire me over. And when I actually went out onto stage, it was live with Kelly and Michael, I had no intention of or plan to talk about postpartum depression. It just came up, and I was just being honest. And never for a second did I think that anyone or cared that anyone would have a bad reaction to it. It was my truth. And so when I got that call that Neutrogena wanted to fire me over that, and my representative at the time said, that's illegal. You can't do that. And even though, she saved the day that year, I knew that was going to be it. That I was not going to be invited back the next year. And I had worked with these people for 10 years, and I remember not hearing a word from anybody, not a great working with you for 10 years, not a nice
hope you're okay.
Yeah, hope you're good. We wish you well. And I remember that really breaking my heart.
Okay.
So it sounds a little more complicated than the story that people are circulating right now. It sounds like Neutrogena found a legal loophole to exploit there, where they took issue with her comments, but of course they can't legally fire someone for a medical issue. That would be a violation of federal law. So they had to wait until the time came to renew the contract they had with her the following year, and eventually did. And she is confident in this interview, at least, that was the true reason why they dropped her as an ambassador.
I'm surprised they didn't just not do anything else for the remainder of the year and then just quietly not renew the contract.
Well, that sounds like it might have been the way things played out, but people are kind of reducing the story down to they saw the interview and immediately dropped her.
Well, she said lawyer got involved and said they can't do that.
Right.
And then they had to be like, okay, well, no, but you're going to have to renew your contract eventually. And at that point, it's just our choice as to whether we want to or not.
Exactly. One of her fans said, I will never buy their product again in my life. People are sharing this is now going to become a full-on boycott effort. I'm going to just say right now, I'm not boycotting shit because of this. It's probably not even going to make a dent in their profit margins if you do participate. But I want to show the context for what she said in that interview. It was on Live with Kelly and Michael in September 2015. So less than a year after the birth of her daughter. This was her sharing it was an experience that her character on
Nashville.
Her character has postpartum depression in the show, and she was talking about how she related to that experience when she became a mom. So that starts at around the
554.
555. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Something that I know a lot of women experience, which is, when they tell you about postpartum depression, you think about, okay, I feel negative feelings towards my child. I want to injure my child. I want to hurt my child. I've never, ever had those feelings. And some women do, but you don't realize what broad of a spectrum you can really experience that on. And it's something I think that needs to be talked about, and women need to know that they're not alone, and that it does.
Yeah, there seems to be some deep shame in it for some reason, because I guess.
Well, there's a lot of misunderstanding, and I feel like there's a lot of people out there who think that it's not real, that it's not true, that it's something that's made up in their mind, and it's hormones, and they kind of brush it off, and it's not true. It's something that's completely uncontrollable, and it's really painful, and it's really scary, and women need a lot of support. We do something. Women are amazing. We do something that no man can do on this planet. I mean, we grow a human being in our body.
So, a couple of interesting points there. First being relevant to this awful trial that's going on right now with Lindsay Clancy, a mother who murdered her children. Her defense is claiming that she was suffering not only from postpartum depression, but postpartum psychosis. And we're not going to get into the gritty details of all of that. But she does say, you know, there are these stigmas about women who suffer from PPD having violent impulses toward their children. And she makes sure to emphasize she never felt that way.
Yeah.
But later on, it's so of a different era that you could even say birth is something only women can do.
Yep.
I mean, that really struck me as
2015 must have been a long time ago.
Yeah, we're in a different era. But I can't imagine why. I suppose maybe people are right. There was such a stigma attached to this condition that then it was deemed appropriate to drop her as a brand ambassador over it. I don't remember ever seeing that sort of sentiment around it at the time, but maybe it's true. Maybe it's true that it was so weighed down with stigma at the time that they no longer wanted to be associated with her.
I can't put myself in the shoes of what the world was like 10 or 12 or 10 or 11 years ago. It's been so long, but nothing that she said felt remotely controversial. And most of the time when I watch stuff from 10 or 15 years ago, I can watch this stuff, like the comments at the end there that are very clearly considered controversial by today's standards. But nothing that she said at the beginning there felt like anything controversial at all. By the way, we got another crisis party that's about to come up. So
great. Well, let's see if this is actually making a noticeable difference now that there are calls for a boycott. It says the term Neutrogena boycott has spiked over 5,000% on Google Trends in the past 3 days. On TikTok, more than 70,000 people have called for a brand ban in various video comments. The company has not responded to request for comment. It's too soon to know if their sales will go down the drain with the same speed, but stock prices for Kenvue Inc., their parent company, which also owns Tylenol, Band-Aid, and Aveeno, good luck going to war with them, over 2% on Monday.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Okay.
So their stock hasn't noticeably suffered as a result, and I think this trend will probably fall as soon as it rose. But here's the thing. It's a psychological comfort to people to feel like there is a shared enemy, a shared adversary, a way that they can defend this person who can't speak up for themselves anymore. People are, as a result, now accusing her on-again, off-again boyfriend even of killing her, or at least being negligent in her overdose, not administering Narcan at the appropriate time. Look, it certainly sounds like he's a scumbag in a lot of different ways, but people are going way too far with the conspiracy posts.
And like, you don't know, like, was he, like, should he have done something about it? Well, you don't even know if he was in the room or in the area. From what I read, it was his brother that ended up finding her. So all of it is like, and this is very common once you lose somebody. And you'd think this would be more common when somebody loses somebody close to them that they love. But parasocial relationships are becoming so overt and scary these days that people feel that same sense of helplessness towards somebody that they didn't know, and they go looking for somebody to blame. And like you said, that guy, given the convictions and everything about him, seemed like a scumbag in every sense of the word. But what we're looking at right now is people kind of lashing out, looking for answers where sometimes there aren't any.
Right. Even in this post of the Jay Shetty clip, they ask at the end of her quote, "Do you think this is one of the causes of her death?" No.
Yeah,
No, it's not.
I did a video about this yesterday, and I said, look, one of the things I got into is basically, look, everyone's looking for the face to put to the blame when it comes to celebrities dying of drugs, because there is no Harvey Weinstein now.
It's a lot of people are blaming her mom too.
And the mom is certainly also a piece of shit from everything that you've read. And her statement was awful in relation to this passing. But addicts meet tragic ends. It's a sad, inescapable reality that comes for so many who struggle with addiction. So unfortunately, if you're somebody who's either dealt with addiction yourself, or you've been surrounded or had somebody in your life that went through it as well, you understand what a hopeless world that builds for people, and it's a very, very difficult spiral to get out of.
Right, and you wouldn't ever want to be put in the position of being blamed for a senseless tragedy. It's senseless, or at least it seems that way for a while.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right, let's move on.
On a lighter note, gather round for yet another tale of girl bossing too close to the sun. This time starring Phoebe Gates, the Nepo daughter of Bill Gates, a billionaire, who decided to start her own tech company called FIA with her BFF, who she met at Stanford. Now, we have talked about Phoebe Gates once before on the show when she got signed to Alex Cooper, the host of Call Her Daddy's podcast network, Unwell, and they started their own podcast together called The Burnouts.
Yeah.
And their first guest, for context, was Kris Jenner, who, by the way, ended up being one of the first investors in their brand. So to explain, FIA is a browser extension billed as a personal shopping assistant for fashion and accessories. And basically, it's meant to offer discount codes when you're at checkout. And if you utilize one of those discount codes or use an affiliate link offered to you by FIA, then FIA earns a commission on a sale that they helped drive. But what's happening right now is Phoebe has gotten caught red-handed putting something into their source code which took credit for sales that they did not drive. And it's possibly responsible for about 90% of the money that was being brought in by her company. So this is definitely illegal. Remains to be seen based on, her social status, her wealth, and her legal team, whether or not she will actually be held to account for any of this.
$30 billion in investment from backers from the likes of Hailey Bieber, Kris Jenner, and then Spanx founder Sarah Blakely.
Yeah, lots of celebrity investors got involved in this early on and now are implicated as well, but they're having their investor funds misused, of course, and knowingly so. So this was exposed at first in July by a report in Bloomberg. And that's actually not the first mistake that FIA made. They were first off exposed for collecting sensitive user data back in November last year, including taking snapshots of bank statements and personal emails.
She learned that from her dad or what?
So that already happened, but what she's now being accused of is something known in the tech world as cookie stuffing. And I'm sorry, but that's just what they call it.
They're gonna call her the Cookie Monster in jail. That's what her name is gonna be on the cell block.
So in July, they reported FIA, an advertising startup co-founded by Phoebe Gates, which bills itself as a personal shopping assistant that helps users find the lowest prices on clothes and fashion accessories, has been found guilty of unusual business practices. Download FIA on a web browser, use it while shopping, and voila, the extension can quickly find discount codes for products. Businesses like these, known in industry parlance as affiliate marketing programs, typically collect a commission from retailers that make the resulting sale. According to Ben Edelman, an independent researcher and consultant who studies affiliate marketing as well as Capital One Shopping, that is a direct competitor, which makes a competing browser extension. FIA claimed credit for online sales it didn't actually drive, in violation of many digital platforms' policies. Bloomberg tested the extension across more than 50 websites and found that during the checkout process, FIA opened a background tab without user interaction and injected its own referral code that overrode legitimate referrals from other publishers. These findings were consistent with Capital One Shopping and Ben Edelman's independent testing and review. It involved using the extension like a regular shopper and observing how it communicates with other sites and its own servers. So that's what's known as cookie stuffing. And they also, at the time in July, made a statement through a spokesperson to Bloomberg in defense of their own actions, claiming they had no idea that this was going on. And they just found out in the last 24 hours when Bloomberg reached out for a comment.
They're like me. They're like, wow, I didn't know that.
Just days ago, Bloomberg followed up with a report exposing the fact that they did know. And this was premeditated and calculated from the start by both Phoebe Gates and her business partner, Sophia Kiani, and the Slack messages to prove it. So the messages that these girls were sending to actual engineers and executives who know about how to run a business are just very telling. So Sophia Kiani, in one of these messages, said, "Do we drop cookie when someone swipes FIA to the side to collapse it? If not, can we? I do this sometimes when I shop, when I don't want an alternative, LMAO." And she tags an engineer. And he said back, "We shouldn't drop a cookie on dismiss actions." So he's saying if someone tries to X out the pop-up from FIA, we obviously can't take credit for the sale that results after that. Mm-hmm. And she says, "You can swipe it away into a collapsed P, LOLOL, and we should definitely drop a cookie when we do that."
I can't get over how many LOLs and LMAOs are in here from the non-engineers. Like,
yeah,
me when I'm writing it, it's literally
you clearly like don't understand the seriousness.
It's the embodiment of all the joke Instagram videos of like, follow me for a day working at Microsoft.
Yeah,
and then they do the thing where they turn to the side and they lift one leg because that's what they always do. They walk like this in front of the camera. And then they turn to the side and they look at the camera and they lift their right leg. Well, usually with a coffee in one hand. She's literally doing that as she's typing this.
Then she tags the engineer again and says, "You can just swipe it to the right and then it collapses. And you can do it on the should I buy this state too. And we should drop a cookie, smile emoji." Engineer says, "Okay, I can add that, but isn't that against compliance?" Some concerns raised by Wildfire in past related to placing cookies on dismiss events. And she presses him further. She said, "Well, so we don't do it when they click X. I guess we could say that the user is trying to open us and roll it back if they complain." She's talking about the platforms that they're violating right now. If they find out that we're doing something wrong, we can just come up with like a story that sounds
whoops, LOL,
like we have plausible deniability.
Whoops, LOL.
And the engineer says,
"I didn't know that."
LOL, okay. It's not that helpful. We still have passive trigger dropping cookies every 2 hours, and it's working pretty good. As long as the user has clicked on FIA once for a top 1,000 website, we will continue to drop cookies every 2 hours. So this additional drop won't matter much. And she says, "That makes sense, yeah. Whatever we can do to keep these cookies dropping will be amazing. Thank you." So she just doesn't understand what against compliance means and the potential consequences if someone does find out. Then we have messages from Phoebe Gates in the Slack channel. These have all been sent directly to Bloomberg by the engineers who have remained anonymous, by the way. So she says, "For Etsy, I see we have a coupon, so we should capture every transaction as monetized GMV, but I only see 9K from this week. Has only 9K this week gone through Etsy?" And the engineer says, this is weekly monetized GMV. That's gross merchandise value. I can't believe I know that now. And revenue through Etsy. We have a coupon on Etsy, but I found that the automatic coupon application isn't working, which is why we're not capturing every transaction. Later on, Phoebe Gates says, regardless, we should capture every transaction if the cookie drop was working. And she's repeatedly confirming this with the executives and engineers. And then this is a funny part. She said, can we set alerting for this such that we know if a coupon is live, if user hits cart, auto pop is triggered? CC at engineer number 3. Can you own end-to-end checking out when you ship? This is super core to Rev. And that is short for revenue, of course. Someone pointed out, I think the host of this podcast called Corporate Gossip, that Nepo babies who commit fraud have an intrinsic belief that they're smarter than everybody else that they work with. And the fraud they're committing isn't illegal. It's just a business practice they're the only ones smart enough to have thought of. And she mentions that CEOs who lack experience and know that they have unearned investment and connections like Phoebe love to use corpo speak, lingo, and abbreviations like Rev to overcompensate for their imposter syndrome. So I definitely noticed that coming up again and again in the Slack messages.
They're
and
like,
Bloomberg
they're going over
fully
the top.
caught them lying.
They're going over the top, trying to sound professional because they know that, yeah. Yep.
Or not even professional, just like they're trying to find a balance between like bossing everyone around and having a superiority complex, but also sounding like a playful bimbo.
We have a 20 here from Not That John Stewart. Says there was already an entire app/browser extension scam, Honey, that already did this. Yep.
Yes. So how did they not do enough market research to understand that this was a risk? Yeah. And it's only been going on for a matter of like 6 or 7 months before they got caught. And they were just so arrogant to think that this wouldn't happen. And now all of their celebrity investors who came on and got involved have to answer for why they funded this company in the first place. That includes a lot of companies and investment funds, but also
Hailey Bieber just has to be like, I thought it would like increase rev, LMAO, LOL.
Yeah, exactly. Hailey Bieber is on the list, as well as Sheryl Sandberg, known for the lean in strategy, one of the major girl boss icons, of course. So that was during their first round of seed funding that raised $8 million. Kris Jenner was one of those initial investors among many. And then they did their Series A funding, which brought in $35.5 million. They posted at the time, can you pull up this Coachella style lineup carousel with all the celebrities listed out here? Khloe Kardashian, Alex Earle, Mindy Kaling, Priyanka Chopra,
Jessica
Sydney
Alba,
Sweeney, Paris Hilton, Ashley Graham, Halsey, Carly Kloss, Winnie Harlow, Ice Spice, Gunna, Eileen Gu.
Who was Eileen Gu? When we covered
the
Eileen
evil
Gu.
Chinese free skier.
Oh, is that who that was?
Yeah.
I was thinking, who was the lady who got involved with like Jeremy Renner? And there was like, do you remember
it wasn't Eileen Gu. No. Okay. Lily Singh, Jay Shetty's on the list.
Oh, Shabuzi's on the list.
Shabuzi as well. Yeah. Lots of celebrities got involved in funding this project. And it's not because they believed in it. Like, clearly society collectively has learned nothing from the rise and fall of Elizabeth Holmes at Theranos. And thankfully this time it's merely financial crimes rather than medical malpractice. But of course, Elizabeth Holmes is the prime example of someone cynically grifting off of being a woman in tech and claiming that as some kind of marginalized status. Mm. And at the time, people really believed in her, bought into her bullshit, and gave her eventually billions of dollars because she was a young woman pioneering in tech and biotech specifically in that case. But, you know, she had her moment where she got caught red-handed, went to prison and everything. And then years later, this shit just happens all the time still. And like, what would make you think it's a good idea to look at this know-nothing Nepo baby 22-year-old who hasn't had to work a day in her life, whose only habit or whose only hobby or interest or area of expertise is shopping online with her daddy's credit card, right?
This could have been
and
such
think
a
like,
great...
I'll give you money. This seems like a good idea.
This is like, look, I know that they were talking about Clueless 2. This could be the plot of Clueless 2.
But that's, you know, the difference being Cher Horowitz was actually a well-meaning
No, that's what I'm saying. And what's going to happen is it's going to be the other person who's trying to scam the customers, and Cher, who believes in true freedom when it comes to your shopping cart, will not kowtow and bow down to somebody who is trying to scam you out of your money. And then like the American and like the national anthem will swell in the background. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. It was Yi Zhao who was involved with Jeremy Renner, not Eileen Gu.
Do you think this would have ever happened to a non-Nepo baby?
What do you mean?
Like, I feel like her being a Nepo baby of a billionaire is essential to the plot.
There's a unique combination of not being qualified for the job, needing to look like you're qualified for the job, not being worried about the consequences of something if it goes wrong. But, you know, Theranos.
You always have the safety net.
Theranos, she wasn't a Nepo.
Oh yeah, she was like, she was upper middle class, but she made her own wealth. She was self-made.
So I'm saying that I don't know if necessarily it's unique to being a Nepo baby. I think that people who are hungry for something, whether that's recognition, money, or power, will make mistakes when they're blinded by their ambitions. And in her case, I don't know if that's tied specifically to being a Nepo baby, but it doesn't help.
Right.
Because you got to increase your GMV rev and your...
Well, her business partner and co-founder, Sophia Kiani, this girl that she met at Stanford and then started the podcast with her, she has recently pushed back on these claims that she is a Nepo baby. She posted on LinkedIn this whole, you know, immigrant rags to riches story saying, my parents moved from Iran to America with a dream and an empty bank account. They worked hard to build us a life from the ground up and gave me every opportunity in life. Now it's my hope to do the same for them. Like many immigrant parents, mine were willing to give me the entire world and more. My dad immigrated to the US without friends, family, or money, with nothing to fall back on. And yet, despite barely speaking English, he managed to put himself through college, start a family and career, and make a life for himself. My life is nothing compared to how difficult his life was. And thinking about the risks he took and obstacles he overcame makes me feel a tremendous amount of privilege and gratitude. Growing up, he sacrificed to give me the resources to learn more and dream bigger than he ever could. Applying to university, I knew that the cost of my education was a burden that my dad was willing to hold. I also knew that I didn't want that burden to fall to him. So by 18, and this is the weird part of the post, I figured out how to pay for my own college tuition and became completely financially independent.
Okay.
What does that mean? It was just added like in the middle of the story without any further details.
Needed a bit of a non sequitur.
I don't know. It's just weird to say that you figured it out without explaining what exactly you did to get all that money to pay your full ride at Stanford. That's crazy.
I will always have a soft spot for the Nepo babies that want to make it in the same industry as their parents. I've said this a million times. I have a soft spot for the actors who want to, you know, I don't believe that John David Washington will ever reach the heights of Denzel Washington being my favorite actor of all time. But I love the idea that, you know, in the most charitable light, that their parents did something that inspired them and they wanted to try and follow in their footsteps. I love that story. This isn't that, not in any real meaningful way, but, you know, what I don't want to see is the Nepo babies, scamming customers to try and do so. Unless John David Washington is lying about the movies he's in. I guess is it a lie if he says the movie's good? Because that's a matter of subjective opinion. But in general, I'm on board. I have a soft spot for the Nepo babies, but not this one.
Well, that was the tearjerker story that she's telling everybody to gain favor and trust while she's partnered with Bill Gates' daughter. And I just want to add a couple more things before we move on. Now, Phoebe's fellow classmates who knew her at Stanford have come out to pile on and claim that she was never good at coding and that she never took computer science classes during her time at Stanford and ended up with a degree in human biology that didn't require any knowledge of computer science. Yeah. So this is part of the story and how this all happened. And then on top of that, there's a claim that Phoebe Gates, while she was at Stanford, took this comically evil course on how to rule the world. Okay.
I saw that. Okay, I saw that story.
This is, I don't know what this even means, but it says under fire, Phoebe Gates once belonged to a secretive invitation-only class at Stanford called So You Think You Can Rule the World, where students are taught how to identify vulnerabilities in systems of power. Years before her shopping startup was hit by allegations of exploited illegal loopholes, Bill Gates' daughter, now 23, was among a hand-picked group of Stanford students in a secret society who study how power works and how to hack it.
Do they know who teaches this class?
It isn't publicized, has no enrollment code, and accepts only 12 students, 6 men and 6 women at a time. They meet weekly to debate money, power, and the underlying incentive structures and frameworks that govern how the world works.
Well, at least there's some equality there in the men and the women.
Yeah, we've got an aspiring supervillain on our hands. It's just that she's not nearly as smart as her father.
Yeah, she's not quite.
So she wasn't sufficiently covering her own ass. So I guess we don't have to worry about her too much.
All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into.
Let's talk about an up-and-coming pop star named Audrey Hobart. She is climbing up the charts. Her biggest song is titled Sue Me, and it's now risen to a new peak at number 57 on the US Spotify chart with 422,000 streams. But you probably haven't heard of her yet until maybe yesterday when the pylon on X reached a fever pitch. People are circulating clips of, first of all, a performance that she did on NPR Tiny Desk, one notorious place where people embarrass themselves, and also a music video for another song of hers called Bowling Alley. And the main reason why she's getting backlash is her looks. She is not conventionally attractive. I feel comfortable just saying that as an objective fact. And she doesn't have the look you would expect of a pop star. And people are saying that she has risen to fame nonetheless because she is a Nepo baby. And that is true in part. She's the daughter of a screenwriter named Tom Hobart. Is that
Tom
correct?
or Tim? It was Tim or Tom Hobart. He was a writer on The Middle, and he was a writer on Scrubs, which are very big shows. Those are syndicated shows.
And her brother as well is a successful singer-songwriter. She's also childhood best friends with yet another rising pop star, Gracie Abrams, who is the daughter of J.J. Abrams, another notorious Nepo baby who did benefit from her connections in the entertainment industry. So you might not know it, but Audrey Hobart is credited as a songwriter on most of Gracie Abrams' songs, most popular songs. If you listen to Audrey Hobart's music and then listen to Gracie Abrams' music, you can definitely tell that Audrey Hobart's fingerprints are all over the catchiest songs that Gracie Abrams has released. So she definitely has talent. It's just sometimes, most of the time, that's not enough to get by. and become a pop star in your own right.
No,
so
it requires a whole lot more than just the music. Otherwise, they would be able to create stores out of nowhere.
Very specific branding and personality and charisma and marketability. And part of that is being at least somewhat attractive. Here's one of the responses. It says, I'm old enough to remember when people got famous primarily because they looked good, regardless of how marginal their talent was. Watching this Nepo baby with a face like a foot become famous primarily because her audience also has a face like a foot is not lost on me. Another one said, this one is crazy. I'm sorry, but she has such an unseasoned boiled chicken pilgrim face. Some people are just not born to be stars. No shade. Love the no shade at the end to just put a Band-Aid over the horrible thing that you just said about somebody.
Look, okay, so this is one of the things I saw today. One of the things that the true heroes in Hollywood, and this isn't even about her, the true heroes in Hollywood were those nameless people that told every celebrity they couldn't be something. You know, like,
yeah.
So there was an article.
Teacher. It's always the music teacher.
There was an article. No. I'm talking about already in Hollywood. So agents and producers. So today there was an article about Allison Janney that said she had like an agent or a producer that said you'll never be able to play anything but aliens and lesbians because you're so tall. Well, Allison Janney is one of Hollywood's most successful actresses, and she went on to prove that person wrong. But the point is that all those things, and we've seen, how many stories have we seen where some producer comes up to an actor and says some very blunt advice to them about, you know, what your limitations are going to be?
Who was the actress who was told to suck in her gut?
I forget, but I do remember that was during a scene though. That was like a director or like a second AD or something like that, because it was about the you know, how it was going to look on camera, right? You're in a visual industry, and that's never going to change. They tried with all their might to change, and all it took was it was science to discover a new drug to prevent that from staying the case du jour in Hollywood. All it took was Ozempic. And that shit was pushed by the wayside instantly. You're in a visual medium, and unfortunately, that is always going to rule. Is that fair? No. But I would argue that her Nepo baby status, not even meant as in a derogatory way, she would benefit more from building a career outside of the mainstream. Like, plenty of people with unconventional looks build careers for themselves on social media every single day. And she could do that, especially with the connections she has that give her access to that. But also, if you're going to be part of mainstream Hollywood and you're going to go and perform a Tiny Desk concert and you're going to have music videos that cost money to make, you're going to get a lot of people saying stuff. And I'd be willing to bet that she's probably developed a callus to it by now.
I'm sure.
I'm sure this stuff doesn't bother her. And if she continues on...
And she leans into it, really.
So in that case, good for her. Good for her for not pretending. Because how many times do these people hear this stuff and they're like, we need people to stop talking about this, and that. The best thing you can do in this case is to play into it, because it's like a nickname. If you want a nickname to not stick, pretend you like it.
Right, exactly. Well, she is doing the right thing by leaning into it. Basically, what I know about her from her lyrics and the way that she presents herself and her music videos, she leans into being awkward and messy and desperate and an attention seeker, but not really likable. And she has a lot of like slapstick humor in her music video for Bowling Alley, where she just like makes herself look ridiculous and moves really weirdly and is kind of off-putting to people.
She would have been a great indie artist in the early 2000s. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure like she still has a chance of doing that now. And I've seen a lot of people push back on the insults being thrown her way. One person said, a big part of the reason people are so weird about the way Audrey Hobart looks is because she looks like she could potentially be trans, and people really don't like that. And I must admit, when I first saw her, I did think that was a possibility, but when I listened to her voice, I was pretty certain that's not the case.
Yeah.
So she is getting transvestigated right now, for the record. And you know, it's a double-edged sword, because you can be too ugly to make it, but you can also be too hot to make it. And the other side of this coin is Madison Beer. Madison Beer has had a flop music career for as long as I've known of her existence, and I doubt that it's ever going to take off into the mainstream because she's off-puttingly hot. People don't like it because there's an element that you just cannot relate to this person, and you can't believe that she has anything compelling to say, that she has any emotional depth. And maybe that's not fair because she is a human being.
Megan Fox used to complain about this all the time.
They don't feel compelled to like connect with her in her songwriting. They don't believe that she has depth because of her looks.
Yeah.
She's just like drop dead gorgeous, and nobody thinks they can relate to anything you've ever experienced in your life.
That's what Megan Fox always complained about. She's like, nobody takes me seriously because of my life, which of course, that's a humble brag.
It is, of course,
she's
but
like,
it's also
nobody
true.
can think I'm smart because I'm so hot. That's what she says. And you're like,
but it is true. It is true. Like, that is one of the ways that people respond to someone who's very attractive, like an anomaly in nature. So someone tweeted, you know what? At the end of the day, if someone like Madison Beer made music like this, everyone would be okay with it. But because this poor woman doesn't fit your definition of conventional attractiveness, her art is deemed lesser than others. That's not true, though, because Madison Beer's career is probably never going to take off to the degree that she's been working for years. And it's because she's attractive. So it's on both sides.
I'm going to read the super chat here. I know we normally wait, but from Robert Delero, who says, there's a lot of people who made it in entertainment that were not good looking. Roseanne Barr is an example of one. If you have talent, you're going to make money. Acting and music are different things. Like there's a need for actors of all sizes and shapes to fit different stereotypes and archetypes, and Roseanne playing a mom, like a Midwest mom, is different than somebody where they're selling sex at almost every stage of the music experience. And I was saying to Mary before the show, I said they are more forgiving of unconventional bodies than they are of unconventional faces.
And one is certainly more fixable than the other. And Audrey Hobart would be making a massive mistake to go under the knife to look the same as everyone else. I think the best she could do, some minor cosmetic changes, I would suggest, maybe. Dye your eyebrows a darker color. She's a ginger, so
I mean that's the other reason she's probably never going to make it.
Eyebrows.
They're gonna stop her from succeeding because she's a ginger.
That's another thing. It's the hatred and ostracization of gingers in society at play here. I fully believe that. I'm not even kidding. So maybe darken the eyebrows, get some more volume in the hair, maybe some extensions. Maybe don't dress like someone 10 years younger than you actually are. She's 27, and she kind of presents herself as being a little less mature than that. So those are my notes, but it would be a mistake to downplay what makes her unique. And of course, she is getting plenty of people, in her corner defending her right now. Pitchfork published an article yesterday titled, "It's a Good Time to Get Into Audrey Hobart." They're praising her for her individuality and personality. Newsweek published an article yesterday. Audrey Hobart is cringe, but the pile-on is cringier. And they're talking about how refreshing it is that she resists cringe culture by leaning into this persona that she presents on camera. I think that she has some talent and her songs are catchy, and she could definitely be worse off in the looks department than she actually is. So it's not all doom and gloom, right?
Look, and especially given like the type of music, like eventually she'll find more of a voice that might separate herself from the songs that she's writing and create for herself her own niche in the industry. And that's fine. That's great.
Hopefully. We'll cross our fingers.
All right. Let's go to Super Chats then.
All right. Katie said, "Hello, Brett and Mary. This past weekend, I attended my first Catholic Mass as I am learning about the faith. It was the most beautiful sight and sounds I've witnessed with my phone off. Well, that's amazing news. I'm glad to hear it. I hope that you keep attending church. I'm really glad that you had a positive experience. Not that John Stewart said, I had the movie version for Columbia House. Same deal. You paid a monthly price and they sent you a movie a month. Wasn't bad. Got a lot of DVDs.
Okay.
So you don't have to send them back like Netflix. You got to keep the DVDs.
I'm going to go look for documentaries tonight.
Pop Culture Junkie said, Columbia House, the granddaddy of the direct mail. You didn't read the fine print scams. Lots of folks got lots of vinyl they never wanted. How do you even quit a subscription in the 90s? Like, I don't even want to think about that. The amount of paper trails and phone calls.
It's really hard to do it now. Like now, I'm so sick of like having to like log into things and log out of things and sign up for things and cancel things. Like every single day, I want to just throw my phone in the river and get a flip phone.
And every device you own is asking to create a password for you. And I'm like, I do not trust this operating system enough to have all of the login information to everything in my life that I have no idea what it is. I will never do that. It's not just this canceling of subscriptions, but it's like the amount of logins and the text codes and the email codes and the two-factor authentication.
When I was like finally setting up my phone, my new phone, I just wanted to die. I wanted to die. It was awful.
Yeah.
Like the data transfer wasn't working. It was all shit.
Well, I must say it is easier with Apple products to do that.
I'd never had that problem before.
I'm like dumb when it comes to tech stuff, but it was pretty easy for me to switch phones. So they figured that out at least. Shane H. Wilder said 1.1 million alpacas. Well, you twisted my arm. Also, Depp does sing on a few Hollywood vampire songs, like People Who Died, when Alice Cooper lets him. Is he any good? That's the question.
Let us know.
I mean, look, you don't have to be good at everything. It's fine if he's not a good singer. Robert DeLera said, does Hollywood really cancel anyone? The industry allowed Roman Polanski to keep making movies for them. Depp was never canceled, just on hiatus. Yeah, I think that they let you go through a waiting period for the collective memory to refresh and then bring you back when it serves their interests. I don't think cancellation is an accurate term for it, because ordinary people get canceled. Celebrities do not get canceled. Cancellation per se only happens to ordinary people with ordinary jobs and lives and families. And it's usually for even more bogus reasons than the allegations made against someone like Johnny Depp, or even a worse example by far in Roman Polanski. Like, if you culturally appropriated, like in your prom dress, okay, that girl, that was a cancellation. That's an example of someone actually getting canceled and people trying to ruin your life and finding success in doing so. That does not happen to celebrities most of the time. If anyone can offer an example to the contrary, I'd be interested to learn about it. But from what I've seen, it never really sticks. Dingus Khan of Gongolia said the cringe was worse than the drunk country singer who ruined her career singing the anthem at the MLB Home Run Derby a few years back. I'm afraid I don't.
I think we did that on Cringe of the Day.
Remember that one?
Didn't you submit that for Cringe of the Day one day? I think you did.
How long ago was that?
A while ago.
I must have blocked that out of my memory then. Robert DeLera said Neutrogena did nothing wrong. They didn't renew the contract, which they had every right to do. This is fake outrage and people trying to involve themselves in a story they don't need to be in. I agree that it was definitely an overreaction, and certainly people were taking it too far when they started claiming that this company, this like mega corporation, bears culpability for someone's death. Like, that's taking things way too far, for sure. And they were within their rights to freely associate or not with any celebrity brand ambassador, including her. But if you really look at the merits of the story as she told it, I don't think that would, in most people's minds, read as a legitimate concern.
There's a rumble.
If we're talking about a morality clause, that's all I mean.
There's a rumble rant here from General Task. Says, love the show as always. Watch every day. It's on. It's on. I watch every day that it's on. I'm sorry, I missed a comment there. As to the subs, it wasn't hard because back in the day, people wanted to look at their bank statements. Now everyone winces when they do.
Yeah, that's true. I find myself guilty.
I'm of the opinion that the real reason millennials stopped liking answering the phone is because of student loan calls. It wasn't that they suddenly didn't like talking to people. They were just kind of like pretending it wasn't happening and then just were like,
I don't think that the millennial generation suffered with nearly the same amount of like social anxiety as Gen Z. Mm-hmm. And then Gen Alpha has reached this secret third thing between like being normally socialized and having social anxiety, which is just, I don't know how to describe it. They're just like kind of in another world. It's like if you interact with someone who's been brain rotted since birth with internet content, they are hallucinating all the time. Like they interact with the world like it's one with the internet, and they're constantly hearing auditory hallucinations.
Like what? Like what?
Well, the way that they repeat phrases that they've heard or sounds, like sound effects that they've heard in videos, or, you know what I mean? It's like they literally aren't in reality with the rest of us because their brains have been so demented against their will, might I add, from birth with all of this unfettered internet access. I mean, it's not social anxiety. That's just not being a person.
Yeah.
Like that's something we've never had to encounter before, but now they're starting to enter the adult world and it's terrifying. Wodenshot said, shameful, awful, disavow, R.I.P. Hayden Panettiere. I've heard Hayden Panettiere, not this one is a new one. They're being creative with it. Wyatt Kaldenberg said, large numbers of people never defend fathers who murder their kids. It is only women who kill their kids that the mobs support and call a victim. Yeah, the whole trial is turning into quite an ugly display. I would say not quite as bad as what we witnessed on TikTok after the Kirk assassination, but it's still pretty bad. And there are a lot of theories as to why. One of them that I saw earlier is that there are moms on social media who can't they can't like produce a full like theory of mind for someone who's capable of doing what she did. So they have to run to whatever is like the next possible explanation. Like they have to go to the postpartum psychosis explanation.
You mean that they can't believe that a woman could do that?
But it's especially like as a mother, because these moms who are seeing this story, they can't possibly imagine what could drive a person to do that. And they have to run to the explanation of psychosis because that is the first thing that they can make sense of. But I don't think you should really construct a nuanced like theory of mind for a cold-blooded killer. Like it's best not to explore those depths and leave yourself like blissfully unaware of what that's like.
I mean, I was seeing stuff that were saying that they like saw themselves in her.
That I don't understand. I have seen those posts as well. And also the people running the full conspiracy gamut right now, accusing her husband of like framing her for it, are even crazier than the people like reading into her actions and like sympathizing.
Yeah.
Well, actually, now that I say it out loud, I'm not sure which side is crazier. Like,
I'm just like,
I guess it's more sane for you to falsely like believe that the husband is the guilty party, because at least you're then defending someone who's innocent. I guess defending her knowingly, knowing that she did kill her kids, is worse.
yeah. And there are countless examples of like fathers who become family annihilators, who kill their whole family, and men don't come up and be like, you know what, and then talk about something crazy like seeing themselves in that guy. That's insane.
Well, I have seen actually like a couple of stories that had responses to that effect.
Not to the scale, I'm guessing, that you're seeing where they raised
Certainly
$800,000 or $1 million. No.
And I'm just trying to make sense of it because, you know, I'm open to the explanation that she was suffering from postpartum psychosis, but I don't understand how that is medically possible. 8 months postpartum. How is that possible? Because the vast majority, if not all of the cases, you see the beginnings of postpartum psychosis days or weeks following labor, not months. And when your baby is now the better part of a year old, it just doesn't add up to me as an explanation for her actions. And of course, you know, I'm going to say this because you know me, but you can't discount that diabolical forces are at play in something as downright evil as this. Especially, you know, if someone is particularly vulnerable and opening the door to demonic influence, I would not discount that as being an element of the story.
Well, since you can't put the demon on trial,
no, you can't. And I wouldn't say that's a reason to lighten a sentence or spare someone punishment, of course. I'm just saying that it makes sense to me if I were to find out that had something to do with it. And I would say, like, whenever something evil happens, I'm not saying she's possessed. I'm just saying when someone does something that utterly evil and demented, there is demonic influence at play for sure. But yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of rage bait on the timeline as well. Like people just straight up claiming that, you know, postpartum depression or psychosis doesn't exist, which is of course not true. Well, I mean, but I think it's being grossly mischaracterized as well by the women defending Lindsay Clancy. Like I just don't even know what to say anymore. There are way too many angles.
I mean, it's an extension of the conversation that used to be had where it's like your parents would be like, why are you depressed? Just don't be depressed. It's not real.
Yeah, it's definitely like documented and a real thing that is far more common than people seem to realize, but it does not make a woman into a mass murderer. Like that's, if you're claiming that is a symptom of postpartum depression, you're definitely stigmatizing that condition more than you realize. Shane H. Wilder said, cookie stuffing sounds like a bad Thanksgiving side dish. What did you stuff the turkey with? Oh, just some Chips Ahoy. Crumbles are too expensive. Yeah, it sounded like something vulgar to me, but also I see where you're coming from. It does sound like some kind of, you know, casserole.
Isn't Crumble like losing these days? Like, aren't they like on like
I hope so.
On like the downfall?
I'm sure it has to be. Like everyone has tried it. They've tried the forbidden fruit, or in this case, the cookie.
I tried
the novelty has worn off.
I got to try. I tried a crumble cookie. It was very, very good, but definitely not worth the. Yeah, I'm not a cookie person to begin with, so I guess that helps too. Like,
well, they're not exactly cookies. Like I like cookies, but those are a different category. Yeah. I think they will continue to thrive in Utah and any Mormon area.
I could be wrong. That could have just been like a hater online saying they were struggling these days. For all I know, they're hitting record profits. I have no idea.
Not that John Stewart said, Oh, this one was about honey. You read that one earlier. I remember a lot of YouTubers in like the late 2010s doing brand deals promoting honey. And it always seemed a little too good to be true to me. T-Bone said, Mary, it's so amazing to see Brett at the live events and get his autograph. Will you be at a live event in the future so I can get your autograph? Did you actually give someone an autograph?
I signed some stuff at the event at the coffee shop.
Wow, you're a full-blown celeb. I don't think there are any live events coming up in the future. Are there?
Not at this current.
I at least haven't.
I mean,
heard
look,
about
I
it.
would be the last person to know, anyways. So.
Yeah, I guess so. I got a very last-minute notification about it, by the way, guys. So I was not available to travel anyways, but I didn't have much time to plan around that. Pat the Plumber said, Brett, you gonna see Doomsday? Is this the new Barbenheimer?
I refuse
They're trying to pull on us?
I refuse to call it that. Look, I don't have a topic that we can make about it tomorrow, but now they're saying that Dune is setting record-breaking pre-sale tickets for its release on the same day as Avengers Doomsday. And I'm like, the first freaking Dune made $430 million. The second one, and to be fair, 2021 COVID, fine. Yeah. Whatever. Second one made 715, so that's a big increase, but not, it's not like it tripled its box office. What, is this movie going to make $2 billion now, too? Is it all fake? Yes. I don't think so, but maybe they will. Maybe they will end up making a ton of money at the box office. You guys know I'm a Denis Villeneuve fan, but I can't say that I found anything super compelling about either of the Dune movies. I watched both of them once. The day I got HBO Max, I tried to rewatch Dune, and I made it like 5 minutes. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing this. So I was having such a hard time getting Doomsday tickets that maybe I'll have to go see Dune, and maybe I'll be the hipster who reviews Dune instead of Doomsday first.
We'll just buy a Dune ticket and sneak into Doomsday.
It's going to be standing room only. I'm not doing that.
I doubt it. When I was at the IMAX for the Odyssey, there were tons of empty seats. I mean, someone totally could have walked right in there.
Yeah, but I'm not, I don't want to wait for 10 minutes to find out.
Yeah, then you're feeling conspicuous and shit.
I don't want to just stand there and be like, okay, is it safe to sit in the seat? And then somebody shows up and you're like, oh, sorry, bro, I must be in the wrong seat.
You just say you're blind.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, why are you seeing a movie then? And you're like, that is so insensitive.
Oh, this isn't the Braille showing?
Boston said $5 for the bear mace. It will handle any canine issues. Strike true against the canine enemy, Mary. LOL, JK. Good show, you guys rock. Mary's a dime piece. Thank you. That was a lot to take in. Look, believe me, I have no qualms with self-defense if I deem necessary.
Here was the I'm going to read this. This is what I was reading earlier, and I don't know if we'll cover it on the show tomorrow. Maybe Phil would like to talk about it because Phil wants to see, I'm sure Phil is going to go see Avengers, so he'll be excited about this. But this is what they're talking about when it comes to Dune Part 3. The CEO of AMC... Yes. I know, right? They had a ticketing malfunction with Dune Part 3 pre-sale tickets, and buried in the apology is a very, very useful number. Ticketing traffic across AMC's website and app ran roughly 3 times higher than the chain saw during Spider-Man Brand New Day's ticket launch. I find that unbelievably hard to believe, given that Spider-Man just crossed $2 billion in a hop, skip, and a jump.
Sorry, I was really confused for a second because you said chainsaw.
Oh, the chainsaw. Yes, no.
There was a chainsaw?
I find it very hard to believe because Dune Part 2 did better, but it's not like it didn't do Spider-Man No Way Home numbers.
I didn't care for it, but it's not my thing.
So, maybe we'll cover it tomorrow, but I don't know.
Robert Delara said there are a lot of people who made it in entertainment that were not good looking. Roseanne Barr is an example of one.
I read that one, remember?
Okay, got it. I was like, this sounds familiar. Shane H. Wilder said, look, there are a ton of ugly, famous musicians, but they had a style people liked. If you don't have looks, you better have a riz if you want to make it.
Pop
agreed.
music is different, and in the high definition era, it's different.
In our current digital age, it's different. Pop music is different. It's also different for female musicians, like it or not. Like, that is the case.
And isn't the point that the conservatives make is that they're selling sex, right? Like, it's become an industry that sells sex. Well, you don't sell sex with broken-ass looking ugly people.
You don't have to sell sex.
But I'm saying, but it is core to the industry.
If there's one person who's choosing not to do that, that's great. Like, I'm supportive of that. Do something different. Be actually unique. And you don't have to rely on, like...
They're not going to play you. That's my point. The point is...
She is getting played. To be fair, like, she's getting a lot of streams. I've heard her music.
Is she on the radio?
On a lot of...
Is she on the radio?
Well, no one listens to the radio, but I just mean in streaming video, like, she is on a lot of vertical video. People are using her tracks, like, on trending videos. It is a trending audio. A couple of her songs, at least. So, I mean, it seems to be working. Robert Delara said, okay, Aretha Franklin in the music industry.
Okay, is that supposed to be like an example of somebody who's ugly?
Is she?
Because he did that was Robert Delara, right? He had the 10. No, this is Aretha Franklin in 1968. She's perfectly symmetrical, and that was at a time period.
You just jump scared everybody with this headshot.
Yeah.
Well, look, no, she was not ugly. That's...
And again, the standards
I think there were also very
60s.
different beauty standards back then, as you can tell by the wig.
Yeah.
Okay, like no one would choose to style themselves that way these days.
But she had symmetrical facial features and had a conventionally attractive face.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Wyatt Kaldenberg said, in the 50s, 60s, most rock stars were ugly. The Ugly Stones, Alice Cooper, Zappa, the Turtles, Mamas and the Papas, etc.
Guys.
Pretty over talent is a new... Well, you just listed a bunch of male musicians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that is also a genre thing, as you said, rock stars. But also, like, you know, I can think of some ugly male pop stars.
Yeah.
So it is just different. And I'm not like complaining like, oh, like double standard, but it is a thing. Not that Jon Stewart said you had to call them can cancel and what? And their entire job was to convince you not to cancel.
About Columbia House.
Wow. Sounds like a cult. Pop Culture Junkie said, how to quit a subscription in the 70s? You don't. Yeah, sounds about right. Shane H. Wilder said, Depp is a decent singer. He has sort of speed punk style. He's also a decent lyricist, listed second behind Alice on most of the song credits. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like Johnny Depp is that friend who's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, Alice Cooper is like humoring him in a way.
Yeah. Like, just because it's like, look, we're buddies. You're famous too. We can be in a band together.
Like, that's just the vibe that I'm getting, but I could be wrong. Shane H. Wilder said, technically, you could put a demon on trial. There was the trial of Arne Cheyenne Johnson, known as the Devil Made Me Do It case. He pled possession.
Oh.
I'll have to look into that. I've never heard of that before.
There's some other examples that they're giving here. They're giving Eartha Kitt. They're giving Stevie Nicks. Again, my argument then would just be the time period was different and the standards of a pop star that they're held to today are different. But yeah, thank you for the examples. Sure. Sheepdog over on Rumble says, what is your favorite movie? Do you have a I said mine earlier. My favorite movie of all time is Heat, but do you have a favorite movie?
It's taken me a long time to come to terms with it, but my favorite movie is about a boy. Hugh Grant and Nicholas Hoult. I love it.
Young Nicholas Hoult. Coming
of age, divorce, British humor. It has everything that I want.
they're upset with Nicholas Hoult now because he took a role on Harry Potter for the 2nd season. He's playing Gilderoy Lockhart. Yeah.
Poor guy.
He was smart. He picked a role that's only going to be 1 season and maybe a cameo in season 5, and that's it. Get in, get out, make a boatload of money. Be fine.
He's another one of those actors that's just in everything as well.
But he's British, like Robert Pattinson, so he gets a pass. They put them in everything. They get away with it because they have to play Americans and British people, so it's like you're multiple people.
Brian Bledsoe said, a internet show bracing for a surge of memberships after that foot tease.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, feet pictures were promised. We just didn't say whose feet they would be.
Ah, that's clever.
Urkele DeStefano said, I like the ribbon in your hair today, Mary. Thank you.
I didn't even notice it.
You never notice the little things.
It's like I just thought your hair was staying back on its own. I had no idea. There it is. Okay.
P-Tran said Brett should skip both movies and watch Mutiny.
Bro, I tried to buy tickets, but they didn't have any for either of the theaters. I was willing to go to the Alamo Draft House. That's kind of close.
Those seats suck.
Do they? Oh,
very uncomfy in there.
Then I'm glad they didn't. But they didn't have any tickets available there, and then they didn't have any tickets available at the other chain that I go to. There's no AMC around us, but there is like a Regal, I think, but I just didn't want to go. And then I found out that the movie leaked on Amazon Prime for like an hour and a half. The whole movie was up for people to watch, and then they got it pulled down finally. Props to J.P. Wolf for liking Coyote Ugly. That movie is amazing.
Technically, it wasn't available for long enough to watch the full thing.
I don't think so. I think it was like about an hour. In the chat, Christopher says, I thought Mary's favorite movie was Coyote Ugly, remember? I don't think Mary's ever seen Coyote Ugly. I recommended it to her. Oh, you did?
I did watch it. I can't remember if it's because of a wager or just because you really wanted me to watch it, but I
reject the idea of ever needing you to really want to watch something. I do think that you should watch Cruel Intentions.
Yeah, I would be more open to that suggestion. Yeah. Manbear Cow TV sent a disturbing super chat that I don't want to read, so I'm not going to. Brian Bledsoe said Columbia House was definitely one of those things where reading the terms and conditions were very important. Did people actually read terms and conditions back then? Like how close?
I guess. Like, did they do that? Because nobody reads the terms of service now when you sign up for an app.
Junie said Janis Joplin was quite unattractive. I am looking up proof right now if that's true. I mean, it's hard to tell because so many of these photos are black and white and blurry. But I can see what you mean. I don't think she's notably unattractive, though. I'm looking at some of these like photos of her when she's younger. I mean, she kind of has like a rough look about her, but that's kind of more of a choice than anything. I think she's okay looking. Straight Rippin' 93 said, Good, Bad, and Ugly is my GOAT movie. Is that different from being a favorite movie? Is your GOAT movie?
I think GOAT movie is different.
My GOAT movie is Twilight. Like, I will never not be down for a Twilight rewatch. So that's gotta be my GOAT.
Yeah. I sent you that thing earlier this week that Kristen Stewart said she's down to make more Twilight.
I'm not. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Please don't. Because they can never, I mean, it's just not the same.
No. Like I said earlier, it's like you can't make that stuff the same when you try and remake stuff. It doesn't work.
Also, one of the many reasons why it doesn't make sense is because they're vampires. And in the meantime, these actors have aged.
Yes.
So unless you want to put like really disturbing CGI de-aging effects on their faces, which everyone is distracted by the whole time they're watching, I don't think there is a way to achieve that.
I mean, you can do a right around. You can find some story reason.
Oh, that vampires just suddenly age now?
No,
that doesn't make any sense.
these specific ones are the victims of dark magic that takes away their ability to not age.
Oh my gosh, you just don't get it, Brett. You just don't get it.
I don't. All right, guys, before we go, would you all hit the like button on this episode, please, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mary, where can they find you?
You guys can send me validation on Instagram. That is Mary Archived. Or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And help me get TikTok famous. That is also Mary Archived.
One more here from Not That John Stewart, who says, as a zillennial, I second Mary watching Cruel Intentions. I think you'd like it. There you go.
I will eventually, for sure. I just don't... I have a lot on my watch list.
There you go.
I'm not sure what's next.
All right. If you guys want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, which is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you want to listen rather than watch, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcast and on Spotify. Thank you so much for that. If you want to follow us on social media, Twix at PopCulture_show. Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis. Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see you then.
Bye
everybody.